reference, we're inviting His Holiness for precious Buddha Dharma teaching. First, let's pay homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsang Kung, to the Dzogchen Rinpoche. Homage to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Dzogchen Darji. And to the Lijiang Temple's altar, to the all deities, we pay homage. And to the main deity of Homa, Mahapratisara Bodhisattva, we pay homage. Simu, Dutton Siddhi Rinpoche, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all participants here and over the internet, and our guests of honors today. The Secretary General from the North Coordination Council of Taiwan, Secretary General Liao and Mrs. Liao, Dharma Sister Judy, and from the Taiwan government, the Chief Secretary Mr. Tsang Pei-fu and Mrs. Tsang, and from Academia Sinica, Professor Zhu and Mrs. Zhu, and from the TECO, Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Hawaii, the Ambassador Lei, and the General Manager of PIC Guam, Ms. Tsang, and from the KMT Party of Kaohsiung City, the Vice Chair Ms. Xu Huiyu's representative. From the DPP Party, Tainan City Chairman Tsai Wang-chuan's representative. The legislator Tsai Chi-chang's representative, Ms. Chen Hui-min. Attorney to the True Buddha Foundation, Mr. Zhou Zhongsen. Professors or PhDs of True Buddha School, Dr. Ye Suwen, Dr. Wang Li, Dr. Wang Yaozun, Professor Wang Jingxian, Dr. Lin Xiuju, Dr. Cai Guoyu, Dr. Gu Haoxiang, and Dr. Liang Caofeng. Mr. Zhu Jinshui and Mrs. Zhu, businessman from Hong Kong, Mr. Lei Fengyi and Mrs. Lei, from the Greenfield Company of UAE, the President Ms. Lin, and businessman from Indonesia, Mr. Tsang Pei-chiang, Mr. Guan Jiazi, Mr. Guan and Mrs. Tsang, and photographer from London, England, Dharma brother Tony, Worldwide Lotus Light Charitable Society, the President, Master Tsang, and from the Lotus Light Charitable Society of Taiwan, the President, Mr. Wu Guante. From the CTI TV Taiwan, the producer for the Geni Gensang Sinten, Ms. Rebecca Su. The producers for the Platform Sutra and Development Stages of Tantrayana, Master Lian Yu, and the host Dharma Sister Pei Jun. Everyone, good afternoon. How do you do? Good afternoon. How do you do? Today we had the Homa fire offering ceremony of Mahapratisara Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. The meaning of his name is the wish granting, so would fulfill any wish you have. The mantra. And there are 8 wish granting mudras because he has 8 hands or arms. So there are 8 mudras. I have showed this in the past to you. One is the inward 5-pronged Vajra mudra, and Kalachakra mudra, Yamantaka mudra, Usnisha Vijaya mudra, and the 3-pronged Vajra mudra, and the single-pronged Vajra mudra, Akasagarbha mudra, and the box or stack of Sanskrit scripture. So it's like the precious box mudra. So I have showed them to you before, and I also have taught this Dharma practice, and we have performed the Homa and the Dharma transmission. So you could ask True Buddha Foundation for the Mahapratisara practice procedure of sadhana. So generally speaking, Mahapratisara is the same as Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. He has purification, enrichment, subjugation, and magnetization. And this wish-granting Bodhisattva would fulfill the wishes of all beings, and he is truly great. That's why he's called Maha. Maha meaning great. Mahapratisara, the great wish-granting Bodhisattva. He has many special characteristics, and most Kuan Yin Bodhisattva Lokeswaras are very compassionate and always fulfilling the wishes of sentient beings. And this particular deity is the great wish-granting. And those who were the primary supplicants or later during empowerments, you can pray to Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. Everyone can pray to Lokeswara Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. Every one of us can. That's the key point. So my introduction of Mahapratisara Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. The key meaning is Kuan Yin Lokeswara Bodhisattva manifests according to the wishes of sentient beings, and his emanations or manifestations is for the sentient beings to pray. And after giving you responses, then you would stay committed in your spiritual cultivation and would generate respect and reverence toward Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. That's the key point. And today, I'd like to mention another piece of instruction of the Great Perfection Dharma. So why is it called the Great Perfection? To let people generate this great perfection, talking about faith. Why would you have faith toward studying Buddhism or studying the Buddha Dharma? There are several key points in this that I need to tell. Sometimes we should think that it is rare or difficult to be born as a human being in the Saha world. And among the 6 rebirth realms, the human realm is best for spiritual cultivation. And in the human realm, there are part sufferings and part happiness. Actually, happiness is about the same as suffering because they are all experienced in our mind. Whether you're happy or suffer, it's just a kind of sensation or feeling. And it is easier to cultivate spiritual in the human realm, and not in the heavenly realm. It's not so easy, because in the heavenly realms, it is the place to enjoy pleasures, and there are more happiness than suffering there, and you don't want to cultivate spiritually. Nothing to motivate you to cultivate. But in the human realm, it's part suffering and part happiness. So you need to think that it is rare to be born in the human realm. If you were to be born in the heavenly realm, you just enjoy. Then you don't think about cultivating spiritually. Or if you're in the Asura realm, in that realm there are great aggression and fightings. So that's why it's not easy to cultivate spiritually. And the 3 lower realms, the realm of hell, that's all sufferings. And you don't have a chance for anything else other than suffering. How could you cultivate spiritually? And the realm of the hungry ghost, that's also full of suffering. It's the realm of insatiable hunger and thirst. It's impossible to cultivate spiritually. And the animal realm is where the strong is overwhelming the weak, so it's impossible to cultivate. But in human realm, the lifespan is very short. The longest lifespan typically is about 100 years old, and 100 years is very fast. So you need to think that why is reincarnation or rebirth cycle is suffering. So you just cycle in this rebirth cycle. That's a phenomena of suffering. Because after this lifetime, you don't know where you would be in the next life. So the fact that you could be reborn in the human life, that's already not an easy matter, and it is not easy to cultivate spiritually in other realms. And you may think that Kuan Yin, Lokeswara Bodhisattva is very compassionate and would bestow something upon you, and you pray to them. And of course you would gain some responses, but whatever you gain, whatever you obtain, may not last forever. Because in the human realm, there are lots of sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Like according to Milarepa, there's no need to talk much about what's written in the sutras, or it is best to experience it yourself in your physical body. Like when you are sick, that's suffering. A lot of people are sick or suffering from diseases. A lot of people, like when I give blessings on the head, some people wanted me to touch their eyes because they have some problem with their eyes. Some have headaches. Some want their throat to be touched because they have some thyroid problems. Some wanted me to touch the shoulders because they're tumors. Some people are weak in their knees or legs, wanted me to touch that. And some suffered from heart problems. There are pains all over the body and wanted to be touched in that area. Some have cold or allergy in their nose. So everyone is like that. So sicknesses are suffering, and the terminal sicknesses, and also the arteriosclerosis, heart problems. There are lots of impermanence that people still live fine, and then in cold weather they die. A number of them died. The other day it was raining during Ushnisha Vijaya ceremony, and those who are rained on did not die, but those who did not come in the rain, they died. So in the northern part of Taiwan, on that day, several died because they didn't come for the ceremony and got in the rain. They died. So that's impermanence. So heart attacks, and there are people suffering from strokes that get younger and younger. And it's 7 and 9. The bird flu and the mutated germs, viruses, and the pigs' diseases. They also, a number of them died, so they suffered, and we also suffered because when the pigs died, we have no pork to eat. So just look at this world, the impermanence that's happening around us. Celebrities that died, people in high positions that died recently. So seeing other people died, there's fire in our heart. It's not being joyful for them, but worrying that it would come to us too. So impermanence is something that you experience yourself. Like if you cough, sometimes you cough continuously. So Dutton City Rinpoche, how long have you been coughing?
How long you cough? 1 month. 你看，堂人波切。
Even the great Rinpoche, the emanation of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, and he had to cough for 1 month. And in the elevator, I asked him, "Is your cough completely cured?" And he said, "Just a little bit." He had been coughing for the whole month. Every time I cough, I would be afraid of sleep, because during sleep, if you cough, then you cannot sleep. It's okay if you cough in the daytime, but at night, when you lay in bed and you're about to fall asleep and you cough, then you have to start again, and you're about to fall asleep and you cough again. There. That's make you really mad. So when you watch the news on TV, there are lots of accidents, car accidents, beautiful young ladies. A lady is about to be married in a few days, and she was involved in a car accident and died. That's impermanence. So seeing all those, think about yourself. When the impermanence is here, what would you do? All impermanences are suffering. Some are in business, and when they earn a lot of money, they would be glad. When you sell products and you cannot sell it, you recite this mantra. The sutra of selling, that when you open the door, you pray to Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and the Buddhas in front, the Buddhas at the back, Buddhas to the left, and Buddhas to the right. And by the blessings, sell all the products. The products are all sold. So the sutra for opening the store, when you open the door, you see Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. So the Buddhas to the front, Buddhas to the back, Buddhas to the left, Buddhas to the right, and by reciting the sutra, all your products are sold out. So when you have good business, that's good, but when your business is bad, then you start to be scared. Because the rental for the stores is expensive, and when you don't have enough to pay for the rent, then you would close down. So a lot of people in the Saha world live with fear. There are lots of fear. Sometimes it appears suddenly. That's also a kind of impermanence. Say for the Valentine's Day, we pray that all people with romantic connection would be connected, but those without the loved ones would be cry alone. So even the lover sometimes creates suffering. If your wife is too beautiful, you would be worried when she's out on her own. Because in these days, people don't care whether someone is married or not, because the marriage certificate is not shown on their face. So, a beautiful wife makes you worry, and when you have children, you have to check for the DNA to check if it is your own child. So it is best to get a safe kind of wife, which is a wife that when she goes out on her own, she just looks so. She does not attract attention. She's wearing very rag clothing, like a beggar. Nobody would want her, then she would be yours. But if you have a beautiful wife, you would always be worried. Many people love to get a beautiful wife, but let me tell you, the safe kind of wives would be safer. Beautiful wives are not safe. You're always worried and fearful about her. You need to check on the time. Where would she be? Or maybe she's having lunch and then you called her and she didn't get the phone, and you started to worry, where is my wife? What a pity. When a man likes a woman and the woman doesn't like him back, or vice versa, or both don't like each other, or both like each other, both love each other, that's very rare already, only about 1/10. Love is also part happiness and part suffering. When you're together, you would be happy. When you're separated, then you suffer. That's the suffering of being separated from loved ones. All of a sudden you forgot about Valentine's Day and you don't give a gift. Oh my God. It's fine in the daytime, but at night, impermanence arrives. That's the Western Valentine's Day, not the Chinese Valentine's Day. Now we have 2 Valentine's Day, and we have to give away gifts twice a year, and the salary is not that high, and money is not that much, and you still have to give gifts that would please her. If she doesn't like them, it may be just thrown into the garbage can. Every day you say, I love you. You say it till you almost cry. There's also some happiness, but there's also suffering and sadness and pain. If you don't earn money, you suffer. And if you don't get to the position you want, that's also suffering. Romantic love is just like a dream, that's also very suffering. They're all suffering. Just look at the world. Is there anything that you can obtain? So in the Great Perfection Dharma, there is the statement,
前不移，最后终于都会消灭。
Everything that is created eventually
凡一切
would diminish.
最终的都会死。
Anything with life eventually would die.
最终的都会坏。
Everything that has form eventually
凡一切你
would be destroyed.
金银珠宝、金钱、车子、房子，
Everything
最终都会耗
that you have, all the precious items, houses, cars, the jewels, gold, silver, they all
没有人能够
would be exhausted. Nobody can obtain anything. When you leave the world, you have nothing with you.
人生实在是够短，
Human life is really short
然后
and it's really sad.
我的心情都一直不太好。
Recently, my mood is not that
修
great.
行人有一个很重要的一件事情，
But for spiritual cultivators, there's one very important thing. You cannot be influenced by your moods.
情绪不好，
Although you're in a bad mood, you need to
不要追着念头走，这个情
be
绪
open-minded.
追着念头走，马上给它止掉。
Don't follow your mood or your thought. You need to cut it off and you fall asleep. And in the middle of the night, you woke up suddenly.
我向谁去倾诉我心里
And such a long night, and who can I talk to?
被落泪？
And then eventually you cover yourself with blanket and shed your tears inside the blanket.
这个虽然可以，师尊已经很不错了，
Although
能够这
Grand
样
Master is really quite good, that
心如
he is able to
晴空，
have his heart like the clear blue sky
它变成乌云晴空。
and transform his body to become like the clear blue sky and the thoughts like the clear blue sky
也把它变成乌云晴。
and the speech also being transformed to become like the clear blue sky. When you have these three emptiness, then you have no obstacles, no obstructions anymore, because all thoughts are arising and ceasing.
你高兴，
Doesn't matter how bad a thought is,
所有的
and when you're happy, it will be gone. So all thoughts comes and goes. It comes momentarily and goes away momentarily. So you need to see through them. All thoughts, all your moods also comes and goes. All the same.
是不是这样子？
So think about it. Is that so?
在这个法会里面呢，在这个
So
尊圣佛法
during the Ushnisha Vijaya ceremony, I told everyone very clearly,
其实你
I have said this clearly.
到了
Actually, you knew
以后，你不会去执掌这个人生的种
the basic nature of the great perfection,
反而
then you will not be attached to the phenomena of the human world,
专
all the happenings in the human world, and you would be apart from them and focus on your meditation and spiritual cultivation. This way you would be able to develop your wisdom, and then you would be able to comprehend the ultimate truth of human life and the basic, the foundation of the great perfection Dharma. Otherwise, when I was young, I had lots of girlfriends, The first one, second one, third one, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The big romantic loves, there were 7, and then the smaller ones are uncountable. But at the end, they're all empty. They all return to emptiness. So now I don't ask for anything. I don't expect anything. Although Grandmaster is rather short, but when I was young, I was quite handsome, quite cool, and I could write. I had several girlfriends. The rather famous one. My first girlfriend that was together with me for the longest time was for 7 years, and her name would surprise you because her name is Tsang. That was my first girlfriend, and she lived in Dzogchen a long time ago. And later on, she changed her name to become Tsang, and her phone number is 2823. How could I remember her phone number? Because at that time, do you know, there were only 4 numbers. 2823. 823 is a war, and add another 2. And she lived in Dzogchen, and she is a bank teller. I mean, she's a jewelry shops. And the second one is leave a great impression. That's in Indonesia.
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 其中小的插曲不知道有多少。
And in the intermission, they're uncountable. So my life was quite rich. But now that I'm aging, although I was like a monkey that can climb on trees, but as I grew old, I could fall. Although I'm like the monkey that can climb trees really well all over the place. But when you're old, you can still climb the tree, but maybe the branch would break and fall, and you would fall. So when I age and when you have a romantic love, that's really sad. So truly speaking, frankly speaking, human life is like a dream, like an illusion, and just think of it as a play. And one day you would leave. When the time is here, each goes separate ways. That's how human life is. When death is here, we all goes our own ways. that the couple at first belong together, but when death comes, they all go separate ways. So even couples sometimes sufferings. Don't think that the couple is very happy. There's lots of suffering. So it's like you're drinking the bitter wine. Where is the happiness? Of course there are some. Sometimes think about it. It is best to go deep into the mountains to cultivate spiritually. You don't want to be in the human world. So that's the mind of renunciation. When you have the mind of renunciation, you need to have the mind of renunciation to cultivate spiritually. So in the Great Perfection Dharma, you have to have the mind of renunciation to renunciate the world. Romantic love is like eating the sugar cane. At first it's very sweet, and you chew on it and then you spit it out. So when you're old, how could there be romantic love? It's just sympathy. So sad. So those with shaved heads should be the happier bunch. So after shaving your heads and you still have romantic love? Oh, how should we call that? It's an idiom. What was it? Abnormal? Huh? So you repeat your mistakes again and again. Just mistake after mistakes after mistakes to the end. And you're still attached and never letting go. When will you have the mind of renunciation? There's the North Pole. It's like romantic novels that were very famous, that even when they grow really old and on the anniversary of their togetherness, they would climb to the top of the mountain and call on the lover's name, and with tears running, and then bow 6-7 times and crying out loud. There is an author that saw this situation and then asked him, that must be a great romantic love story. Yesterday was a Valentine's Day. Truly sad. But think about it. The great love story is really touching. But under the heavens, it is truly rare and hard to find a true romantic love. If you suffer, anyone here, if you suffer, we welcome you to join the Sangha, to become ordained. Let me share a joke. During the day before the Lantern Festival, the panda at the zoo could not sleep because the name of the panda is like the sweet dumpling that people eat during the Lantern Festival. So even this dumpling, which is the name of the little panda, suffer. And she was thinking about the lantern that fly to the sky, that's really beautiful and flying with the breeze. It turned out to be caught and on fire. You know, the lantern that's made of panda, and the panda bursts in the sky, but the panda on earth is still alive. If she knew that the panda on the sky had caught fire and burned, she would have suffered. So A and B express opinions about Hua Mulan. This story must have been made up because they lived together. Hua Mulan lived together. How could you find out? She must have found out soon. But B replied that if you found out that she's a girl that sleep inside all the men, would you tell other people? She was a lady that got into the military on behalf of her father among all the men, so her life must have been suffering. On the desert, a hungry, starving black man kicked on an elegant lamb, and the lamb said that he could say 2 wishes. And because he was really thirsty, he said, I wanted water to drink every day. And the second wish is that he wished to be white. And third, he wished that he would be able to see the ass of the woman. And in a split of a moment, the black man became a toilet. A white toilet. So see, even the wishes can become empty. So you can pray to Mahapratisara. If Kuan Yin listen correctly to your wishes and bestow the right wish, congratulations. But if she listened wrongly, then you could become a toilet. So think more accurately and say more accurately. Otherwise, you may get the wrong answer. I have told similar joke. The wife of Clinton is Hillary. And she went to a realm where she met God. And she went into God's room and saw a lot of clocks. And God said that each of this clock represents a man. And if he has a lot of extramarital affairs, the clock would turn fast, the more the faster. And then Hillary asked, how about the clock of my husband? And God smiled, replied that, oh, I use that clock as a fan in my office. So there are lots of secrets. There are lots and lots of secrets among us. among human beings. But those are secrets that cannot be told. So it is best that you keep the secrets, because there are a lot of things that's not as simple as you think. There's only a fool on earth, and that fool is called Tsang Lu. He believes in everything. A lot of people don't believe in everything. Everyone has heads, but not everyone has brains. Trees without bark would die. But when people do not want face, then they would be above all enemies. They would conquer all enemies. Zhuge Liang, when he was alive, like a pig. Oh, this is Chinese.
自从我变成了狗屎，就再也没有人敢踩在我的头上。
When you become dog's poo, no one would want to step on you anymore.
师尊还是变成狗屎。
So Grandmaster maybe should just become dog's poo. It's not bad.
没有人敢欺负你。
Then nobody would want to bully you or mistreat you. If you're not dog's poo, other people would mistreat you. And if you're dog's poo, no one would want to touch you. These jokes are given by Hui Jun. When there are lots of books, there must be some. When there among a lot of people, there must be some idiots. When you empty everything, you must be an idiot. The little, yeah, this is all play of language. Oh.
知道你过得不好，我就安心；知道你胖了不少，我更放心。最简单的长寿秘诀就是保持呼吸，千万记得不要断气。
The best way to have a long life is to continue breathing. Please remember, don't stop breathing.
我能做的就是让他去见上帝。 就算你以花有主，我也要移花接木。你看，这世界上什么地方有安全？名花有主，人家
So even the famous flower has its owner, they still want to touch on it. So what is safe? Nothing is safe. That's why on this human world there are lots of fear and worries and suffering. So you need to understand this in order to generate the mind of renunciation. Grandmaster also grew up amidst fear, very fearful, very sad, very worried. But seated on this Dharma seat, I have to say, don't be fearful, don't be sad, don't be afflicted, don't be scared. So, My life is worse than yours. Right? I'm very scared, very fearful, very afflicted, very sad. But sitting on this Dharma throne, I have to show as if nothing is an issue. So that's a successful man would earn enough money for the wife to spend, but a successful woman is to find such a man. As a student, it's okay not to have integrity, but you cannot. You have to pass your exam. If you don't cheat in your tests, then my classmate, Mr. Zhu, was first in class. So during tests, I had to rely on him. Money is not the problem, but the problem is I have no money. Man in the office never work. Those with little birds are not just men, sometimes are animals. This is a little bit, the Chinese are funny. If it is a mistake to be rich, then I'd rather repeat those mistakes. Is Yang Zhongzi here? He's left. Oh, that's better. The fat Yang fell from the 12th floor. What would he become? He would become the dead fat man. In history, who ran fastest is Cao Cao, because when we speak of the devil's here right away. So devil in Chinese is represented by Cao Cao. So these are jokes, but amidst these jokes there are tears. Think about it, the suffering in this world. Think about the suffering in this world. That's why don't create suffering for others. It is best to give happiness to others. That's the most important for spiritual cultivators in our Buddhist study, to give happiness to others and help alleviate their sufferings and do them with joy and forsake with equanimity equally, and with equanimity you give happiness, alleviate the suffering, and do them with joy, and to sacrifice with equanimity I wish everyone is happy, has no suffering. And you also need to know that the basic form of great perfection Dharma is to understand that human life is very short and don't waste time on meaningless things. What it is teaching you is to study Buddha Dharma the best you can, and then you will be able to gain liberation. Om Mani Padme Hum.